with Tony Khan not releasing AEW stars and more. This is Wrestling Hub. My name is John, and you're watching the Wrestling Report for September 27th. Before we get into the rest of the video, make sure you subscribe to Wrestling Hub and turn on all notifications to stay up to date with everything in the world of pro wrestling. Also, don't forget to follow us on Instagram at Wrestling Hub Official and follow us on Twitter at Wrestling_Hub. Recalling his feud with Jerry Lawler from 1996, Jake Roberts revealed on the DDP Snake Pit podcast that Vince McMahon wanted Lawler to pour whiskey on him despite his issues with alcohol. Absolutely was in horrible taste. They were making fun of me being an alcoholic. He went out and poured a bottle of whiskey on my face, burnt the out of my eyes. Asked Jerry Lawler, he'll tell you the same damn thing. That they used real whiskey to pour on my face, because when it came time for me to pour it on him, he goes, "You can't pour that on me." I said, "What do you mean? You poured it on me." He goes, "Vince wanted it poured on you." That MFer. That was a real bad angle, and even Lawler didn't want to do it. While the black and gold colors of NXT are back, Dave Meltzer noted on Wrestling Observer Radio that no more 2.0, it's just NXT again. They're going back to the old colors, but the same philosophy in the sense of mostly younger guys coming in and younger women coming in and everything. With Hurricane Ian set to make landfall in the Tampa Bay area, Minnie and Florida are under evacuation orders as AEW President Tony Khan said this about it potentially affecting this week's episode of Dynamite. For everyone in AEW, in case you missed our email, anyone worried about Hurricane Ian affecting your travel or home or your family life, it's voluntary to come to TV this week. Anyone affected by the hurricane can take care of business at home. We hope to see you all next week. Literally the first line says, "In case you missed our email." Yet I'm getting asked, why'd I tweet this instead of sending an email? In case you missed our email means we sent one. I still got questions after the email, so clearly people had missed it, so I followed up with the tweet. Talking about the improvised brawl between Drew McIntyre and Karrion Kross after Scarlett's fireball was botched, Dave Meltzer said on Wrestling Observer Radio, it was largely impromptu, but not exactly. There was concern because they used like a fire gun. It was almost like if it was known since they were going live that they would adjust. So if you noticed, Drew McIntyre paused for a second and then he attacked Kross. They pretty much called, I guess there was a mutual understanding as Scarlett hit a low blow. It worked out somehow, but it was absolutely not the plan. With Io Sky recently coming up short against Bianca Belair and Dakota Kai even losing singles matches, former WWE writer Vince Russo took to his Legion of Raw podcast to call out Bayley's faction, saying it's the 70s mentality of, well, they're the tag champs, it's alright if they lose singles matches. Now Chris, what do you do to get around this? Bro, have a street fight where the finish could be something so creative that you're not beating someone with a 1, 2, 3. There are so many different ways to do this. I have said this 3 weeks in a row. Why did Bayley choose two girls who are gonna lose all the time? This is the 3rd week in a row I have said that. Taking to his drive-through podcast, Jim Cornette touched on the AEW title match between Jon Moxley and Bryan Danielson, heaping praise on the two. Jon Moxley stayed in the ring for the entire match, except one spot on the ramp and right back in, and nobody bled. Is this the first time ever? This was a stiff match, a modern style match I could have done with a hold every once in a while. You know, some wrestling. One tackle, drop down, hip toss, kickoff, arm drag, body slam, drop kick. Anybody to do that anymore? But no, they beat the out of each other, chops and kicks. Danielson looks better doing it than Moxley does, to be honest. But this is the modern match. It was good. It was a 5-star extravaganza from what Moxley usually does. I did get a kick out of doing the old leg grapevine and the headstand thing where they slap each other in the face while they were standing on their heads. I've not seen that in 25 years. I'm not taking any piss out of this match. It was definitely great for Moxley and good for Bryan. Sticking with Cornette, he had this to say about former WWE star Paige making her debut for AEW last week. As soon as the word Saraya came up on the screen, the place went ballistic. I don't even know if they would have cheered if that happened in a WWE building, because none of the WWE fans would have known probably what Paige's real name was. Well, maybe the most devoted. But these fans, they are the smart ones, and they knew it was Paige, and boy, the place comes apart and the heels bail out of the ring and the fans go crazy. Paige walks into the ring, smiles at the people, and that was it. If she has been cleared to wrestle, then why did WWE let her get away? She's not with Alberto Del Maniac anymore. She's not having public meltdowns. So if she was cleared to wrestle and could wrestle, how did WWE let her get away? You would have to be a complete lunatic to sign a wrestler under those circumstances without having them check to see if they can wrestle. So what's going on here? I'll tell you another thing. If Paige was paying close attention to that match, she's got to be thinking, holy this is worse than a shoot. I don't want to get involved with these people. When asked about profanity being used in pro wrestling, AEW commentator Jim Ross said on ad-free shows that as long as the storylines and character development are based in some degree of logic, you have to position talent to some degree that he or she can best identify with the audience. It sounds simplistic. It really is, quite frankly. I thought WWE, at one point, I was there and part of it, tried too hard to become PG and appease all the advertisers. I think you just have to use common sense. We had a string in AEW where there was a lot of controversial language. I think you'll see less of that. It's unnecessary and shows a lack of creativity if you can't come up with an adjective or an adverb that is better than something a little coarse. The times are going to dictate that. With a screenshot circulating that Triple H called Keith Lee and Swerve Strickland about a WWE return, Andrew Zarian took to Twitter to point out that he never reported this. Keith Lee would react to that screenshot writing, "I am fascinated that such a thing was stated/reported. No one knows my personal business in any capacity, and I certainly have not spoken with whoever those people are. My advice would be to ignore outlets that merely use names to make up stories. Read a book instead." While it was reported that Malachi Black was given a highly conditional release from AEW, he has taken to Instagram to dispel this notion, making it clear he is returning to the company, even claiming the report of him having more than 4 years on his contract is inaccurate. With this in mind, it's not surprising that the AEW president won't be granting any releases, as Meltzer noted on Wrestling Observer Radio. Nobody is getting released. That's the doctrine. Tony Khan made that very clear in the last couple of days. So now he's not getting released. Buddy Matthews isn't getting released. Now they may be back sooner than before, or whatever. You know the situation. They were both wanting to go and find a way out, but that's the decision that was made. I mean, it's not to say it's hard and fast, and there will be no way and nobody's getting released, but I think it's pretty much the deal that if this happened in the other company, would those people get releases? And the answer is no. They signed a contract, and so basically now their option is to sit at home, and he can extend the contract if they sit at home, or wrestle. So now they're gonna wrestle. It's kind of a weird thing, because he waved goodbye, and now he's back. And I'm sure he's gonna blame me, but that's what happened. No release. With WWE continuing to play into the White Rabbit tease, as a video would be played with a QR code, as Ryan Satin wrote. While searching for the QR code on here because I was having trouble on my TV, I saw someone pointing to the source code of the website for some reason. When you look at it, however, the code has the opening lyrics to Aleister Black's theme. It's worth noting that the clue from SmackDown last week teased the word patricide and the location of tonight's Raw. Tonight's White Rabbit clue then appeared on Raw after an entrance from Dominic, someone who metaphorically killed his father to become a man. Connor Casey also noted that the coordinates in the caption of the latest White Rabbit QR code lead to something pretty disturbing. As WWE is gearing up for their Crown Jewel event in Saudi Arabia, it seems the Beast is going to be making a return for the show, as Ringside News wrote. WWE Crown Jewel is going down on November 5th, and Roman Reigns vs. Logan Paul is already booked for the show. We were told that Goldberg is not booked for the show, but Brock Lesnar will work the event. Speaking on his Experience podcast, Jim Cornette touched on rumors of WWE sending feelers to stars under contract in AEW. As he said, there are all kinds of ways that you can find out when somebody's contract is up without an official of the company having to make an official inquiry. There are all kinds of ways that you can let a guy know that, boy, we would sure like to have so-and-so if he wasn't under contract to somebody else. So this seems to be the right time to play that game. New guy in charge of WWE, not the demented billionaire that everybody was mad at. Combine that with the chaos backstage in the locker room and the civil war in AEW, different camps, and people saying, well, we actually had something going and now the whole thing may have fallen apart because of the EVPs. So this is the right time for WWE to find out just how many of those AEW guys really want to be there now. And this was your pro wrestling news update. I hope you're all having a great day. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you later.